So, Antoinette, I remember you telling me a story a long time ago when we were chatting one day over drinks about Trevor Sorby.
Yeah.
And you're from Holland,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah. I'm Dutch too. I told you that, right?
Yeah, you did.
A little bit. And you told me a really funny story about how you really, really wanted to work for Trevor Sorby.
Yeah.
Do you remember the story?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell everybody about it.
Right, okay. Well, it's going to take a while, right? Well, basically, when I got into hairdressing when I was about 14 years old. And the reason why I became a hairdresser was that I was inspired by the hair of Bo Derek in film 10. Remember those little braids? That's why braiding is very much part of my heritage. It's the first thing I taught it myself. And my father was a photographer. And you know, he's just retired actually. And he took I did my first photo shoot when I was 14. I still got the pictures. And so I did these braids, taught how to do it myself, whatever. Anyway, I was so inspired by textures, and I always have done. And then I realized that in Holland, you know, it's changed now, but at that time, I mean, we're talking 30-odd years ago, it wasn't really about creating a career in hairdressing, and I was very much a girl. If I'm going to do something, I want a career. I want to really become really good at something. So I knew that if I wanted to be the best at something, I had to move to England, because at the time the best hairdressers in the world were in England. So then the hairdresser Trevor Sorby caught my eye. He just won Hairdresser of the Year for the first time. And I thought, I need to go and work for that man. His team came over, I did a seminar, and then I realized when I saw these people on stage, I thought, that's what I want to do. So the person who organized the seminar at the time, he gave me the information on Trevor Sorby, and I just flew to London. Here, 18 years old, didn't speak any English, like, hello, yeah, I live in a house with 4 windows. That was about all I could speak. And knocked on the door of Trevor Sorby, and I said, I'd like to work here. And he did some haircuts, and he said, well, you can't really speak any English, so it's a bit difficult. So he sent me home. He sent me back to Holland. And I went, okay, fine, but I'm coming back. I'm going to come back when I can learn English, and I'm going to come back. So about 2 years later, or a year and a half later, I packed up all my stuff. I said to my mum and dad, I'm leaving, I'm going to work for Trevor Sorby. I moved to London with no job, nothing. And I knocked on his door, and I said, I'm back. I said, and I'm staying. I don't care what it is, I'm staying. And he said, okay, you can stay here. We'll teach you, he said, because he was so blown away that I came back, he didn't expect that one. He said, we'll teach you. He said, I'm not going to pay you for the first month. You have to prove yourself. And then we'll let you do a test. We'll teach you, you do a test, and if you pass the test, you can stay. And if you don't pass, I'll send you back to Holland. So my parents, fortunately, could sponsor me and worked my butt off. Honestly. I cleaned the academy, I found the models outside Topshop, I mean, I did it all. And I think that's why I have a good eye for finding models. Because I stood every day outside till 11 o'clock at night looking for girls to have their hair cut for his academy. Anyway, so I passed my test. I ended up, and it was a great, I mean, Vivian McKinder was there, Eugene Solomon was there, Damien Carney was there, Kenny Franklin. Trevor had a real powerhouse of talent. He's very good at creating talent, and so I got retrained and passed my stylist test, and I was, 6 months later, went on the floor, instantly became a teacher. Because one of the things that because my English wasn't that good, I never quite understood when the hairdressers used to talk all this jargon. I'm going to graduate the backside underneath, all this kind of, hoo-ha talk. And being Dutch, quite straightforward person that I am, I kind of translated it into very simplistic language. And even still today, people say to me when I teach, they understand it, even if I don't speak, because I explain it very simply, and that comes from those early days at Sorby. So I became a teacher, and I started teaching my staff the basic haircuts, and then one day, I never forget, we went to Salon International, because Trevor used to do all the big shows, and he said, okay, you go on stage now. I'm like, oh, never had any training. But, I had a good gop on my mouth, that's what they say. And went on stage, showed this technique. And he sent me to 4 different countries the following month. It was amazing. And then started traveling with him. I worked with him for 11 years. I mean, he ended up being my family. I mean, we came to Australia, everywhere we used to do shows. And I got to a point, I mean, did I win an award? Yeah, I won Avant-Garde Hairdresser of the Year. And I was nominated a couple of times for stuff. And then it got to a point where I couldn't go any further. A couple of companies started to, look at me, and I think once you win your first award, your name gets out there. And I thought, okay, I need to work for a company that hasn't necessarily got a person's name on the door. And I want to, and also I was also really into kind of like having shampoo with color in it, and I'm always thinking of product ideas. So AVEDA at that time was a brand new brand in England, and they were very editorial. All the editorial hairdressers always used to use AVEDA. So I saw all the credits, you know, so and so using AVEDA, and I thought, that's interesting. What is that all about? So then I started looking at the products and stuff, interesting, and then I got approached by George Hammer at the time, who was a distributor for UK, and he was opening a salon in Harvey Nichols, and he said, I need someone to head up that salon. Are you interested? No. Why not? Let's go and have a go. And then I met Horst. I'd never met Horst. I didn't even know who Horst was, because Horst was obviously a huge name in America.
Yeah.
But in the UK, you know, well, hairdressers didn't know at the time. I mean, I think the previous hairdressers knew, but not my generation hairdressers knew. So George put me in a room with Horst. Horst was shopping for talent. And I actually said, because I also used to work with Eugene Solomon for 12 years, I said, well, you're going to get anybody, get Eugene, because he's brilliant, you know. And he goes, well, what about you? I said, what about me? And he goes, because I'm a bit mousy. He said, well, why don't you come to America? And I said, well, I don't know about that. So then he said, okay. He said, why don't you come to America? I'll put you in my spa for 2 days, and then you do a hair show. What he didn't know is that I'm a spa junkie, or at the time, I don't know time anymore, but I used to love going to spas, and that whole holistic side, that was really, like, still into it. So he you know, he pushed the right button. I said, okay, I'll come to America. So went to his spa in Osceola at the time. I had all the lovely AVEDA treatments, and then I did a hair show, and I think it was Ginger Boyle at the time that said to Horst, don't let her go. And then I took on my, I think, you know, I started doing some shows, so I kept staying in England, but I used to travel quite a bit transatlantic and do shows for AVEDA at the time, and that's kind of how the whole thing started, and fashion shows, and you know, winning more awards like London Hairdresser of the Year twice, then I won British Hairdresser of the Year, Fellowship Hairdresser of the Year, another time Fellowship Hairdresser of the Year. And Fellowship Hairdresser of the Year is when the industry chooses who they think should be hairdresser. So I was very lucky, and I mean, to be honest, I've been lucky. I've won a lot of awards. I don't remember all of them.
That's luck.
Well, hard work. I mean, it's been truly, you know, 14, 16 hours a day. I mean, to do a career like what I'm going through, or what I'm still in, it's not 9 to 5, you know, that's the reality. And you can't do it by yourself, and it just takes hours and hours of hard work.
But it's about passion.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what keeps me going. I mean, I'm 45 years old next month. I've been doing hair since I was 14. I still love it. I'm still here, like, you know, clipping away and cutting hair, and I still love it. And I mean, what other job do you know where you can do that? I mean,
no, I mean, I always think that it's been interesting that hairdressers always knew what they wanted to do when they were really young. I always found that fascinating. Took me till I was 33 to figure it out, you know?
Wow.
Really
well, and a good choice you
Once
made
I started
as well.
behind the chair, so that's when I found my purpose. But you know, it took me a long time to figure that out. So it's interesting.
And then what I was very lucky with was that Dominique recognized, you know, Dominique Conseil, the president, he recognized that you see, I'm very passionate about imagery. I think that if I nail it down, what is it, is imagery. Like, I like creating a look for a person, or for a picture, or for a show. I just find that whole thing very fascinating, putting all the things together. And I suppose it comes from my dad as a photographer. You know, it's that click, it's like that moment. That I think I live for that moment. Actually, I'm going to start doing some of my own pictures this summer.
Really?
Well, because I get frustrated if photographers don't give me what I want. So I'm going to just have a go at it, and maybe I'm totally crap at it, I don't know, but I'll have a go at it. And so then Dominique saw the vision. He said, well, if you can create that image that you're winning all these awards with, and it's published all over the world, you should do that for us. And I thought, brilliant. So he just threw me in the creative team. And I said, okay, I'm going to stop using every picture you've ever used. Honestly, they're afraid they're like, ooh. And I'm like, we're going to stop using everything. We're going to start a whole new look. And that's what I started 5 years ago.
Yeah, which definitely takes on so much more of the fashion look.
Yeah, because hair, to me, hair is fabric. It's the fabric of the body. And that's how you can express yourself. I mean, if you look back in history, the punks expressed themselves through, like, shaving their head, because it was about anarchy. It was like their voice, you know. I mean, hair is a huge part of people's personality and how they want to be perceived. So it's all to do with, you know, and it's, you know, you can do so much with hair. Isn't that me? I mean, I'm still not tired about hair. It's such an amazing, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's such an amazing fabric that you can mold, shape, color, stretch, pull, curl. I mean, you can do anything with it.
Yeah.
What else is out there that you can do that with? And it's done by hand, because another thing that I think is interesting with hairdressing is that I don't think we can be replaced by machines, if you think about it. I mean, how, like, look at retouching. When I first did retouching, my very first pictures for Avant Hairdresser of the Year, there was no Photoshop. And the thing that I did at the time is like I had 2 pictures, 2 heads, and I printed 2 shots, and then I flipped them over and we glued them together, the body. So the idea was a playing card. You know how you have the double body thing?
Yeah.
And my little retouch man had to like do the little line in between to blend it by hand. That's what it was. Now it's all Photoshop. So the industry has changed so much since I've been in it. It's quite remarkable. And that's what I'm saying. To give someone a haircut, it's the technique is one thing, but a lot of it comes from the heart, you know, and it's what makes that special and personal that they can't do with a machine. And I think it's super powerful. Yeah. If you think about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I kept a bit off on my high horse there.
but I wanted everybody to know kind of what your background was too, because I think it's important where that passion comes from as well.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on in my head, and it's interesting. Every time I have my hair cut, I've got this girl that cuts my hair, Woody Tights. She's amazing. And she goes, every time I cut your hair, it's like I'm in a private seminar, because I'm like, yeah, take that bit there, and because of that, that, and that. And sometimes I surprise myself what I know. It's weird, and it sounds really cocky, but I've analysed hair for like 35 years now, I think, and kind of, and I still get surprised by it, but it's great. It's good. Cool.
I'm just so glad to be here.
It's good to have you.
I know. And it feels right now, because being on a plane for 20 hours, I don't even know what time it is. Like, I can't even grasp what time it is right now. I'm like, I can't tell if it's like 10 in the morning or if it's like midnight at night. Yeah. But we're here, we're excited about being here, and we're going to show you guys a whole bunch of really great stuff over the next few days. So we're going to keep on going.
Cool.
We've got a haircut to do.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. See you in a minute.
Lovely having you.